everybody. So I'm doing a YouTube tutorial using a model. You can find her IG information here, and I'll also have it located at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Using light hair stroke like motions, I filled in her brows using MAC's crayon pencil in the color Spiked. It wasn't that I needed to do much to her brows because she already had them waxed. However, I just went through and filled in any empty spaces or gaps that I may have noticed throughout her natural hair. The key to this look was just using light stroke motions because we didn't want like a really dark or deeply defined brow. We were going for somewhat of like a natural brow because the eyeshadow is gonna act as like the center focus of attention for this makeup look. I've even found a duplicate to MAC's brow crayon in the color Spiked. It's by Maybelline and it's called Brow Precise. It's a micro pencil and it's very similar in the consistency of the product when you apply it, and it's similar in the color and quality, and I prefer it over MAC because it's dollars cheaper. Like, not just a few dollars, but quite a significant amount cheaper. And maybe somewhere later on I'll show a video of products that I feel like are duplicates to high-end products. But next I just take LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Warm Honey, and I'm highlighting the under part of her brows with a brush by Wet n Wild, and I'm carrying that color all the way from her brow bone to her lash line because this concealer is going to act as a eyeshadow base, and I'm just setting that concealer with Ben Nye's banana powder. The next product I'm using is Gold Deposit by MAC, and I'm just highlighting the under part of her brow and I'm transcending downward towards the eyeshadow. The palette that I'm using for her eyeshadow is the Creative Me palette, and I'm using like an orangey pinkish color to act as her transition shade for the center crease of her eye. And then next I'm taking the color Sangria by Anastasia Beverly Hills Dress Your Face Tamana palette, I believe that's pronounced, and I'm going over that first color that we applied. The brush that I'm using to blend out that pinkish orangish color from the Coastal Scents Creative Me palette number 1 is a X Max design blending brush, and I'm just using like circular motions within her crease to apply that color, and I'll have a link listed below for X Max designs in case you wanted to purchase their brushes. When applying eyeshadow, the reason why I really like the technique of taking the concealer all the way down from the brow bone to the lash line is so that the pigment of color will be exactly that, pigmented, and you have to utilize the whole space of the eyelid and make sure that everything is blended properly, because one thing that I've noticed that I've made a mistake with other eyeshadow applications is that I didn't blend thoroughly throughout the whole eyelid, and you just have to make sure that you do that so that there won't be any gaps or spaces in between the transition of your eyeshadow. And that's one of the things that I learned in 2017, and I'm so grateful to bring that technique to 2018. So now I'm taking the Sangria color by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm placing that over top of that pinkish orange color that I applied first. And now I'm using the Creative Me palette again, and I'm taking the purple in that palette, and I'm centering it towards the outer portions of her eyelid so that it can give that shadow, that darkening effect that we like in eyeshadow. This portion is where I'm going back in with that concealer and I'm cutting her crease using a small brush, also by Wet n Wild. I really don't use like high-end brushes, and I'm just using a tapping motion to kind of clean up her crease and make it cut, so to speak, just using tapping motions with that small brush. And I'm going back in with the Creative Me palette in a turquoise color using a blending brush by MAC. It's the I believe 216 or 214, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm also using tapping motions to apply that pigment over top of the concealer. For this part, I want to make sure that I concentrate the color exactly where I place the concealer, because I don't want any of the color of the concealer to peekaboo through her eyeshadow. I want to make sure I apply that turquoise color all over the front, maybe like 2/3 of her eyelid, and I want to make sure I cover it all. I want no lines showing. I want it to be seamless and perfect, basically flawless. I don't want you to be able to see anywhere any of that concealer that was applied first. So I'm getting as close to the first 2/3 of her eyelid as I possibly can. And the banana powder that we actually applied before is acting as a base for the fallout, for any of the eyeshadow that may fall on her face while applying this eyeshadow or this pigment on the lower part of her lid. So it's not gonna matter that any of this fallout is kind of like falling underneath her eye, because I can dust that off later. Now I'm taking a small domed brush, also by, I want to say, e.l.f., and I am concentrating a royal blue color, also from the Creative Me palette, number 1, to the outer third of her eyelid, and it's also giving that gradient smoky effect towards the outer portion of her eye, which is that shadow effect that we're going for. So it's making like the transition of colors from the inner part of her eye is getting darker the further that it goes out. So I'm just blending those two colors together, that first color that I applied, that turquoise color, and that blue together, and then I'm going back in with the Creative Me palette purple color, and I'm blending that out. And here's just the application of the second eye all over again, just the application of the concealer underneath her eyebrow. And this part goes kind of fast because this is like my second time doing it, because duh, she has two eyes. So I just kind of sped up the process, but I'm basically doing the same thing that I did with the other eye, and I'm just gonna bring that concealer all the way down to her lash line once again, so that it can act as the primer for the eyeshadow that we're gonna apply. Once again, when applying the concealer, I feel like it's so important and vital to use tapping motions versus like a traditional like swiping motion, because it focuses the concentration of color exactly where you tap it. And sometimes when you wipe, you can kind of wipe away the product. So you want the consistency to be thorough throughout the whole duration, or the whole area of the eyebrow, because you don't want any spaces or showing where you didn't apply the product enough to show up in your eyeshadow application. So once again, I'm taking that beauty sponge that I got from the beauty supply store, and I'm applying MINERALIZE banana powder once again, and then of course the highlighter, and then the eyeshadow. And here's the eyeshadow application for the second time. If you want to, if you feel like this is just going too fast for you, That's the great thing about this, is that it's a video and you can always rewind and go back and fast forward if you feel like, okay, well look, I've already seen this part. So yeah, you can just feel free to fast forward. And yeah, we had so much fun doing this makeup look. It was actually something that I had seen on IG, and I just thought it was really cute. It's not exactly what I saw on Instagram, but it's just my kind of like rendition or my version. And I'm scared of color personally, so just to use somebody else's face for this look just worked, because I feel like every time I apply my own eyeshadow, I miss something or I don't do something. So I feel like using a model this time would definitely suffice for the look that I was going for. And plus her hair is bomb, and yes, of course it's hair by me, and I felt like it just matched with the color, and you know, just felt like it was cute and Barbie-ish. Alright, now for this part, I'm taking the same color of concealer by LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color, what is this color? Warm Honey, duh. And I'm just using a Real Techniques concealer brush, a flat concealer brush, and I'm just applying that right underneath her eyeshadow. So like I said earlier, all of that fallout that happened from the eyeshadow application doesn't even matter now, because I'm going in with concealer and I'm cleaning that up, and I'm just using a tapping motion with that concealer brush. And of course, I know somebody and their mama is gonna come through and say, oh, this isn't natural, it's not natural looking. Nowhere in this video am I trying to be natural, okay? It's paint, it's makeup, it's not natural. Natural skin is natural. If you are putting product on your face, it ain't natural, sis. I'm not going for a natural look, so stay out my comments with that. But anyways, just making sure I use clean lines. And no, it's not perfect, but after we finish, this finished product is bomb, so it don't even matter, sis. It's just paint, like I said, and if perfection's what y'all looking for, you might want to start over, because ain't none of us perfect. But yeah, just using tapping motions once again, because you want the product to be consistent. You don't want any splotches or gaps or anything. So just tap, 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 tap. And we are applying this concealer as a highlight to basically highlight all of the areas of the face where natural light hits us. So when you are hit by light, or when, let's say, light shines on your face, of course it hits you in these areas: underneath your cheeks, your brow bone, your nose, the bridge of your nose, your chin, and your forehead. So we are just going to take that highlight and apply it in all of the areas that natural light hits us. But right now I'm using foundation. I'm just kind of blending in the foundation and her under eye highlighter together with a brush also by X Max Design, and I'm just blending those two colors, or those two products together, the foundation and the concealer. The foundation that I'm using for her is Cocoa by e.l.f. And if you all have any recommendations of like a cheap foundation that I can like move towards, because I've been using this foundation for years and I'm praying that it still remains cheap and like people will be sleeping on it because it's just so good. But like if you have any recommendations, like drop some info in the comments below, please, because I could use it, sis. I really could. I'm going back through with a small brush just to make sure those inconsistencies of the concealer are not there, and I'm just once again using those tapping motions and blending everything together because we don't want lines, you know. I hate seeing those non-transitional lines in people's makeup, and I've been guilty. I've been so guilty. So because I'm doing somebody else's makeup, I just wanted to make sure everything was thoroughly blended to the max, or as blended as possible. And of course, I forgot the top lip. Yes, that's also one of the areas that light hits us when it shines on us. So just make sure that you blend everything out seamlessly and flawlessly, sis. I completely forgot to prime her entire face with primer or moisturizer or whatever, but for the sake of the video, you know, we didn't do it because she was only gonna have like the makeup on for all of 20 minutes, and you know, but still, you know, don't forget for your own self to prime your entire face. It just helps with the overall makeup look and helps it to look more finished, so to speak. So I'm going back in with foundation just to blend once again the concealer and the foundation together so that everything looks gradient and well blended. Yeah. Oh, here comes the finishing touches. My favorite part is the glitter, honey. So basically I just used glitter by some kit that I bought at Hobby Lobby. It's not really specified or specific in which color glitter you use, but I wanted to stay true to the colors that I applied on her eyeshadow at first. And I used a turquoise glitter and a blue glitter, and basically I'm just using that same type of eyeshadow brush that I used to apply her cut crease. It's just a compact eyeshadow brush by Wet n Wild, and I'm using clear lash glue. Yes, I said it. Clear lash glue to adhere her glitter onto her mobile lid. And I'm just, once again, I'm taking that first color and concentrating it over the first 2/3 of her eye of where that turquoise color was applied. What I should have done here was went ahead and applied her setting powder over top of her concealer first, so that it can kind of act as a base for the fallout for the glitter, because now glitter is everywhere, which is cool, because I mean, if you like glitter, just go ahead and just throw a whole bunch of glitter all over your face, you know, just, yeah. But regardless, it's okay. It's not that big of a mistake. I could just use like a brush to kind of dust off that excess glitter. And the brush that I'm using right now is a concealer brush by e.l.f. Now, honey, here's the struggle bus, because eyeliner is never my friend when I'm applying it on myself or anyone else. So, you know, this was the best wing that I could pull off, okay? Don't judge me. No, just kidding. But this is Wet n Wild's, nope, I lied. This is a liquid black eyeliner by e.l.f. And I'm really telling you all, like, keep sleeping on e.l.f., okay? Keep sleeping on them so I can still buy their stuff for like dirt cheap. Like, don't even worry about it, sis. Don't even go shop and buy their products. Just let me do it. Look at that face. Let me do it so I can just get all the good deals and stuff. So don't even focus on e.l.f., okay? I'm just gonna keep buying it. But yeah, so I just went ahead and tried to wing it out as best I could, because like I said, wings are never my friends. And I see why this is called like wing liner, because it looks like the airplane wing, the back wing of an airplane. Yeah. And then I just went on to use Maybelline's Rocket Volume Express for her lashes to kind of get all of that excess eyeshadow and glitter fallout away from her lashes. And we're gonna apply falsies. I used Kiss falsies in the, I believe it was Poise. That was the style of the lash. And I really like Kiss because their lashes look so natural, so natural. And I'm just using some tweezers to apply that, and I'm using the same clear lash glue by Ardell that I used to apply her glitter. And basically this is the completed look. If you wanted to fast forward, sis. No, I'm lying because I totally forgot her lips. So after lips, this is the finished look. I don't know why I get so animated at the end of these videos. It's almost equivalent to like me not knowing what the hell to say, so I just say whatever. And yeah, and see, look, she liked it. She said I did a good job. Oh, and yes, so I'm going back in with my pigments and I'm just shading out her bottom waterline or her lash line, so that transition of color will also come to the bottom of her eyelids, so everything is cohesive and it just flows. And I'm going back in with Gold Deposit to highlight her cheekbones, her nose, the bridge of her nose, and maybe even a little top part of her lip. I probably skipped that because, you know, she don't need it. But then when we move on towards the lips, I am using Pink Sugar Rose, or it's a color by Wet n Wild. And no, this video is definitely not sponsored by Wet n Wild, but if you know, like, you want to throw them my way, sis, like, just tell them come on. Tell them come on. I'm ready. But I lined her lips with a Jordana retractable pencil in the color Coffee Bean because, you know, I just wanted that kind of like nude looking lip, because her eyes are going to be the center focus once again of this look. I didn't want to go with like a really bold lip, so I just blended those two together with an eyeshadow brush by e.l.f. and that was it.